I'm so excited. This week we get into the 800s. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with my 1001 book countdown. Very excited. I'm always excited. That's a common term that I use to describe myself, I guess. But I am very happy to bring to you the next round of countdown because I hit my 100 bookmark and now I am going on to the second 100. So let's jump into it. If you're not familiar with the 1001 book countdown, I certainly will leave a card up here for you where you can go and check out the original video. But basically, I'm reading books off of the 1001 books you must read before you die list, and I'm just slowly working my way through the massive list. It took me a year and 7 months to read 100. I don't even want to do the math to figure out how long it's going to take me to read the last 900. I'm not even going to try. Yeah, so it's a long journey. Hopefully you consider giving me a subscribe and sticking around to see how far I make it on this journey. But for today, what we will go ahead and do is put up the numbers, which are 901 and 6, 6 being what I have left on my TBR for 2022. Every year at the beginning of the year, I pre-select 52 books and try and focus on those as I go throughout the year. I'm not doing too badly because it's 6 right now, but it's not 6 by the end of this video. So not too shabby. Oh, one thing, if you may have noticed, the color of the numbers has changed, as has the intro, because I decided for every 100, I'm going to switch out the color. Why not? I figured out how to do it today. I'm happy with it so far. So we're going to try it and see how it goes, but we're going with purple right now. We'll see what I do in the next 100. All right, but for today, I do have quite a few books to talk about, which I'm very excited about, and we're going to go ahead and get right into them. All right, so the first book, book number 901, is actually H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountain of Madness. Now, this is obviously the complete fiction omnibus for the prime years 1926 to 1936. And this particular omnibus, there's 2 others as well, was sent to me by the wonderful Michael K. Vaughn. So thank you so much, Michael. He sent this to me last year. And I'm sad to say that this is only the second story that I have read out of the omnibus. So there's a heck of a glare on this over that. I do apologize. I'm trying to get the angle right for you. So H.P. Lovecraft, if you're not familiar with him, he is a sci-fi, horror, fantasy writer, as really, from what I understand, a lot of horror writing, which makes sense why, Michael K. Vaughn would have had this and sent it to me. I do not read really any horror. I think I've read maybe 2 or 3 that would be classified in that genre. The book that we read, I did this as a buddy read with David Wiley, was At the Mountain of Madness, which was only around 40 or 50 pages. So it was not a long book, which was great. I had a lot of books to finish reading. So At the Mountain of Madness was originally published, I believe, in 1936. Yeah, 1936 as a serial. And it really focuses on some explorers on Antarctica. And they are heading out and murder, mayhem, confusion almost from the start. And so a lot of this is told almost from a perspective of things have already happened and they're recanting or going back over everything that had happened in an attempt to try and prevent anyone else from going through there. There were numerous points in this book where I'm reading it with David where I was like, I would have turned around long ago in this, but it was a good read. It was one that it was very, very short, and it was one that did it convince me to read more horror? Probably not necessarily, but it was a good jump into H.P. Lovecraft. Apparently it is one of 2 of their most successful novels, or his most successful books. So it was great that it was on there, but this is the only one that's on the countdown. I can't say when I'll get back and read more H.P. Lovecraft because it is a little dark for me, at least so far. So curious if you've read this one, what you thought of it. This is very heavy, so I'm going to wrap this one up and and say, let's go ahead and reduce down the numbers. So with this one, we go from 901 to 900, and it was on my 2022 list. So we go from 6 down to 5, and I get to put this down now. Woo! Woo! Okay. All right, so the next book is much, much smaller and much easier to hold on to. So the next book is Cataract by Mikhailo Oshtishi. I'm not sure, again, if I'm saying that correctly. This book was originally published in 1971. The author was a journalist and also a poet, and this is their memoir. And it is about the time that he was arrested for spreading false propaganda about the government and thrown in. The first part of it is all about the interrogation and then going to a hard labor camp and then being released and then being rearrested. The beginning of this book and in the interrogation, you really see the poetry portion of it. It was so beautiful, that first section. I flew through the first piece and kept wanting to come back to it. When it went to the hard labor camp, it lost something for me for some reason, and I'm not sure exactly why. Because the author did not go into like a lot of detail about anything that really happened at the hard labor camp. It wasn't this big deep dive. It felt like it was just kind of almost like this little placeholder, and eventually he was released and then kind of reevaluated again. But yeah, really interesting one. Was it my favorite? No, definitely not my favorite. Would I say it warrants being on the 1001 book list? I think the first part of it, I get why it was included on there. This also happens to be the book with the fewest number of ratings on Goodreads. It's not well read, or it's not out there. I've never seen it talked about on BookTube at all. So I'm really glad that I read it, and especially about reading an author about Ukraine, that's from Ukraine, and everything going on there. It felt very timely to read that because I feel like some of the stuff that happened then is happening still today. So, but Cataract, and I'm not going to even try and butcher the author's name again, but with this book, we get to go from 900 to 899. We are officially in the 800s, and it was on my 2022 list. So from that, we go from 5 down to 4. All right. Not too shabby. I'm pretty happy. I do have another book though, which is fantastic. And this book also has an author's name that is incredibly hard to pronounce. I'm not sure why that's the theme this week, but it is Zorba the Greek by Nikos Kazantzakis. I apologize again for the pronunciation of that author. This book was originally published in 1946 in Greek, and then it was I don't have the date that it was translated into English, but it was also made into a film in 1964. The author, Nikos, we'll call him by his first name because that's a lot easier to say, has actually 12 novels, but this is the only one that is on the 1001 book list. Again, another author I had never heard of before. It got added to my TBR because it was the title that sorted last in the alphabet, so that's why I added it last year. But this is all about, there's a narrator in this that you never learn his name, or I never learned his name. He's going along and he meets this character whose last name is Zorba, and Zorba is a character. He has all kinds of ideas, all kinds of just things that he says that you kind of go, wow, all right. And he is one that is always calling the narrator boss. That's why you never know of his name. I would say Zorba loves women, loves alcohol, loves tobacco. He is definitely all about women in this more than anything else. There's one great section in this book where he's like, yeah, I can give up smoking and I can give up drinking. I've done it before, but women, maybe when I'm 70. And then it says, well, maybe that's too soon. And maybe when I'm 80, I'll give up women. That's a great descriptor of Zorba. And so as he and Boss are going along, there's a wide variety of different women that are kind of coming in and coming out of the story. And you get to a certain point I got to a certain point in the book where I was shocked by what happened. I mean, to where I had my hand over my mouth, not expecting this massive twist that happened in the middle. And it was absolutely just out of left field and was graphic and shocking, and I was astounded when it actually happened. So I'm not going to tell you what that is, but that is part of why I think this book ended up kind of on that list, because of some of that happened in this particular book. In the end, you kind of find out whether or not they stay together, whether or not they part ways, but it was an easy read, absolutely, and it was one that I thought it was just kind of okay. So this week is full of 3 books that were good, not great, not horrible, and certainly not ones that would qualify in the top or the bottom 10 books of the next 100. So, but Zorba the Greek, with this one, we get to go from $8.99 to $8.98. I can do math. And we get to go from 4 down to 3 because it was on my 2022 list. 3 books. 3 books. That's what I have left, is 3 books. I'm trying desperately to find the 3 books. So the first one is my book club pick, which is The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. Yes, there is a bookmark in there because if you remember, if you've seen my TBR video, my goal was to read 50 pages per day of this book. And so far, I made 50 pages yesterday and I have about 30 more pages to read today. So I'm not doing too bad on that so far, but it is very, very early. And then the other book that I'm doing is a buddy read with Margaret Pennard, is Regeneration by Pat Barker. I sent, Margaret, if you're watching this, I sent you a Voxer message to see when we were starting this. I think it's now, but I wanted to check in. But Regeneration by Pat Barker, this one is very small, which is fantastic. So I'm hoping to be able to get through that in under a week. And the third book is languishing over here on my shelf right there. It's Tirant Leblanc. Haven't even picked it up. So, in order to finish it, I would have had to have read 20 pages per day, and that number per day just keeps going up the more it languishes over there. So that's fun. But that's really what I have. Oh, that's not true. I have another thing. I forgot. I am participating in the World Cup Reading Challenge, which is hosted by Mark over at Book Time with Elvis. I currently have Australia. Australia made it through to the next round, which is great, and they are playing Argentina this weekend. And my husband has said they will lose. So I don't know, but I have a book from Argentina that's on the 1001 book list, and it's so short, which I'm so excited about. And it is Kiss of the Spider Woman by Manuel Puig. How do you say that? P-U-I-G. And this is a play that is 78 pages long, and it is on the 1001 book list, but of course it's not on the 2022 list. But I'm going to pick this one up in December because it is a nice and short one. And so I'm excited about this one, to read this one, and the author is from Argentina, so it should be good. That's kind of what I have coming up, what I just finished. Very exciting time. I'm happy to be in the 800s. Let me know what you think of the purple color, if you like it. Hopefully, hopefully you do, because now it's the color, because I don't think I can change it again. Or I could change it again, but that would be a lot of work, and I don't want to. So hopefully you like it. But that is what I'm reading right now. I am on good track. I'm on a good track to finish the year with 1 or 0, maybe 1. I'm still going with 1 left on the 2022 list, but I still have a few weeks. I still have the whole month, basically. So we'll see how it goes. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks. Bye.